Enjoy an elevated experience with your Flow Home Internet and mobile combined.
Giving you the best rate for great savings.
With 120 gigs of double data for anything.
And unlimited talk.
On 4 mobile lines.
Simply combine your Flow Home Internet and mobile for the best rate and value. Unlock double data and unlimited talk on 4 mobile lines to go with home internet speeds up to 35 megabits per second. Visit a Flow store to sign up today. Conditions apply.
Shopping with TDC just got much easier. Here's how. Log on to shoptdcgroup.com. Shop at your convenience at any time, from anywhere, with your smartphone, tablet, or computer. With our safe and secure payment checkout, you choose the option to pick up in-store or have your goods delivered right to your door. It's that easy. Shop tdcgroup.com, your one-stop online store.
Shop anywhere, shop anytime, same quality you love. Now online. Shop
www.shoptdcgroup.com.
Hey kids, drink healthy.
Reduce sugar chubby with the same great taste. Lots of magic fruity flavors, drink the more healthy way.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby.
25% less sugar chubby. Be active, be healthy, drink lots of chubby. Kicking football, playing cricket, having fun in the sun.
It's chubby.
Reduced sugar chubby keeps you cool and refreshed.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby.
25% less sugar chubby. Jumping rope, running races, have fun.
It tastes so yummy, chubby.
Drink the more healthy way.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are solely those of the participant or caller and do not reflect the views of WINNFM 98.9. WINNFM reserves the right to disconnect any caller who infringes the law or offends the right of any person. The station will also refuse to take any call from any person who, in WINNFM's considered opinion, is likely to expose the station to liability for statements made on the air. Good morning, St. Kitts and Nevis, and welcome to Voices right here on WINNFM 98.9. It's the end of the week. Today is Friday, June 17, 2022, and you're logged into WINNFM 98.9 for another edition of Voices. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining me on the program today. It's just about 13 minutes past the hour of 11. Let me apologize now for the late start, but we are going to get this program on the road. Of course, I'll give out the numbers early for those of you who wish to participate and, of course, lend your contribution. You can call us at 466-0989, 762-0989, or 662-0989. And, of course, we have the WhatsApp number where you can send your messages at 662-2204. That is 662-2204. Also, you can check us out on our social media platforms via Facebook, our Facebook page, and our YouTube channel at WINNMedia SKN. This is Voices, and I'm your host for today, Friday, June 17, Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining me on the program. Now, today I want to bring something to you. Of course, I think you've heard about this one before, but I want to bring it to you just to share for the benefit of the listeners. And I think for some it will be new information. For some you'll be like, oh, I did not know that this exists. I did not know that this was something that people actually look at, or the organizations that I would name actually look at. But I think it would be a great information session, and of course having a conversation on the current situation in terms of our politics and what is expected in the coming, let me say, hours. As we know, tomorrow the Prime Minister will be launching his 8 candidates for the upcoming National Assembly elections, and so many people predict that they will be hearing something with regards to the date for the general elections. What I have here in front of me, the Code of Conduct for the Political Process, ethical guidelines issued by the Christian Council and the Evangelical Association in St. Kitts and Nevis, and then we have the Chamber of Industry and Commerce and the Bar Association, and they issued some guidelines to the Electoral Commission, to candidates for election, their associates and supporters. They also issued to the voters as well as to the media. Now, with regards to the Electoral Commission, it says the Electoral Commission should be transparent and impartial. The Electoral Commission should ensure that any person who is eligible by law to vote and makes necessary application is properly registered. Any person who is eligible and properly registered to vote should not be denied the right to vote. The Electoral Commission should ensure that the supervisor of elections and persons assisting him or her in any manner perform their duties in accordance with the law. The Electoral Commission should ensure that local, regional, and international election observer missions are invited to observe the election process. With regards to candidates for election, their associates and supporters, it says candidates in any general election need to justify their suitability by presenting proposals for the betterment of St. Kitts and Nevis, its people and land, and its interaction in the Caribbean region and the world. The emphasis should be on issues rather than personalities. Candidates must also avoid defamation of character of their opponents, their families, and supporters. No abusive attacks should be directed to campaigners or their family members for reason of their race, social origins, and background, education, gender, religion, or any other reason. Candidates must seek to be truthful about the past and present socio-economic state of St. Kitts and Nevis. Candidates must avoid raising unfulfillable expectations and making unrealistic promises. Care must be taken not to incite sectional hostility or violence. To further demonstrate political maturity and foster unity among the people, it says political parties not forming the government should appeal to the nation via the media to respect and acknowledge the government formed by the due process of the Constitution of the country. Likewise, government ministers must also respect themselves and their opponents, since respect is earned and not an entitlement. Campaign slogans and the like affixed to walls, poles, etc. should be such as are easily removable when campaigning ends. So in other words, when the campaign is over, all of the party paraphernalia and posters and all of that should, or is expected to be removed. Special care should be taken to avoid defacing historical sites. No one shall prevent the distribution of leaflets and the display of posters of other parties and candidates, and shall not deface or destroy the posters of others. We would see, and I'm pretty sure we've seen in the past, where different political parties or their supporters and associates have been going around and trying to pull down and tear down and deface the posters and slogans, posters that is, for other political parties. The electoral regulations should be observed and not circumvented. Every person entitled to vote must be able to do so freely. Victimization of persons, interference with employment rights, intimidation, bribery, and enticement with favors are gravely wrong. Persons are entitled to express their political views without fear of persecution or victimization. Bribery of voters is a criminal offense. Avoid language that is abusive, indecent, or inflammatory. Respect the freedom of the press. It says refrain from excessive alcohol consumption and making alcohol beverages available at campaign recruitment drives or public meetings. When the election results have been finalized, unsuccessful candidates should accept defeat in the true spirit of sportsmanship, and successful candidates should celebrate victory gracefully and humbly. All citizens have a responsibility to obey the law and promote the maintenance of law and order throughout the Federation. Observe all public health requirements, including the COVID-19 health protocols, during the electoral process. That is for the candidates, their associates, and supporters. So essentially what this code of conduct or the ethical guidelines, what this is asking us to do, because we're all voters, is to conduct ourselves properly and respect the law, respect the constitution of the land. Conduct yourself properly. You participate in this electoral process. You vote for your party. You vote for your candidate, and you respect others. That is all that this is asking for. At times, people may want to get violent. At times, people may want to get hostile with each other, which is totally unnecessary. That is not needed. It is 21 minutes past the hour of 11 here in the studios of WINNFM 98.9, and you're tuned into Voices. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. We'll take this short break to give a shout out to our sponsors, and when we come back, we'll keep the program going right here on 98.9. Let's take this break, and we'll be right back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
When the star them there, we are top man, we take charge. Have no reaching now, we are shell down hard. Blast like a star in summer gallopar. Overdo it, we take it too far. Take charge, take charge.
We are hot gal, we set the trend. Magnum we drink for the top man then. Wine with the style, no stop from spin. Hot blend, back bend, and take charge, take charge.
Magnum tonic wine, for the real star them. Take charge, take charge.
Must be 18 or older, drink responsibly.
Enjoy an elevated experience with your Flow Home Internet and mobile combined.
Giving you the best rate for great savings.
With 120 gigs of double data for anything.
And unlimited talk.
On 4 mobile lines.
Simply combine your Flow Home Internet and mobile for the best rate and value. Unlock double data and unlimited talk on 4 mobile lines to go with home internet speeds up to 35 megabits per second. Visit a Flow store to sign up today. Conditions apply.
Nature has its natural course, and there's nothing we can do about that. Right? Well, you're wrong.
Let TDC Insurance help you when nature strikes by rebuilding your damaged property and getting you back on your feet in no time. This is why you need to ensure your property investment is fully covered with insurance from TDCIC. We've got your back. Visit us on the corner of West Independence, Square Street and Bank Street. TDC Insurance Company, guaranteeing you peace of mind.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are solely those of the participant or caller and do not reflect the views of WINNFM 98.9. WINNFM reserves the right to disconnect any caller who infringes the law or offends the right of any person. The station will also refuse to take any call from any person who, in WINNFM's considered opinion, is likely to expose the station to liability for statements made on the air. Welcome back to Voices right here on WINNFM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining me on the program. It is 11:24 and we are continuing Voices for today. The phone lines are open and we're taking your calls at 466-0989, 662-0989 or 762-0989. Call us today and be part of the conversation. So for those of you who are just joining the program, I am reading or sharing with you the Code of Conduct for the Political Process, ethical guidelines issued by the St. Kitts and Nevis Christian Council and Evangelical Association, the Bar Association, and the Chamber of Industry and Commerce. We have our first call for this morning, so we're going to head to the phone lines and take this call. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Cornelius. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm good, thanks. What about you?
Why are you enjoying these set of clowns what was running the country, you know? You see, you can't call them names, but they like how they call them one another names. But my mom just say, no, I can't say Prime Minister. You understand? Patches the same thing last night. The fight is sweet, you know, because everybody been warning people. Nobody was listening. I listened to a clip because some people that call the radio and talk will have respect. To you with Eugene Hamilton and a man who telling he vote for him 3 times. I don't know if you hear the clip, but somebody can't plan your station because a lot of bad in it. We have a bad government, you see. An old man with a walker. Eugene Hamilton is the Deputy Prime Minister launching the attack on the man. To them. But people that call this radio station and say, me sound angry. How Eugene Hamilton sound? How he sound? How Patches the sound in Warner Park? Launching the bad word and the man in the park at the CPL. I got a clip. How terrible sound? Ain't in government yet. But with them like a bad word. Nobody now hear me busting like a bad word talk. But listen to them who in government and who want to come in. But you ain't supposed to talk, have respect. Well, I wonder if the Christian count on all these people hear the clip of Eugene Hamilton after they done write a letter. I wonder if the Christian council hear the clip with Talbot after they done write all them letters. So what is the way forward? Curtis Cook mustn't call Timothy a big son because it's disrespectful. Everything was disrespectful when the citizens talk. When Patches launched the attack on the citizen, nobody was saying it's disrespectful. When a woman come from Trinidad, when Douglas was the present Prime Minister, and so we have a galloping dictator, nobody was saying disrespectful. When they put a limo picture all over this country with the private part out the door, nobody was talking about disrespectful. When they launched their attack and unlibeled in the Democrats every week and on the podium, nobody was saying disrespectful. But some of us got short in memory. That is why these politicians can continue lying to us. Mark Brantley is the biggest example. Mark Bradley should walk in the police station and tell them he come. He gonna stop lying. How Mark would watch us and tell us that he was against bringing in the overseas voters? He didn't support Tim with that. But when he was at the Marriott, when Tim said it, and then you could see them guys got a script. Because listen to the other guys. Yeah, Mark, I remember I was in Parliament. But what you don't go sit down. All of me locking up. You don't hear me say it all the time, Mr. Cornelius. When Timothy Harris said people ban water come here, Mark Bradley is telling solidarity for his family. He let Timothy say it and then said nothing when he abused Lawyer Anthony. When Timothy the doctors who come take over our country. When Timothy Harris said Sidney Walden must go back with the foreign accent. They hear Mark Bradley and he know he won't pay for me. Nobody knocking his wife. But that was the time he was to hear Mark. He's silent. Now he's trying to convince us that he wasn't against who outsell. Mark, stop lying to people. People are seeing you for who you be. Very deceitful, very dishonest. Why in Parliament? How come in Patches? You had the report for Patches. Why you Mark Bradley put the report in cabinet and they went back for it, as Weber asked you? The evidence is there. Listen to Patches last night talking about you now. Because if you do what you were supposed to do and stop cover up for people and the wrong, you would have never end up in this mess today, Mark Bradley. There's about him, but the reality, the facts, is what killing I today. Because everything what I was saying and what I was talking about come back. My brother, I'll show you got the clip what I tell you during the election with Jerry George and Beverly Sinclair. You get that?
I didn't get a chance to check it out. You say you sent it?
Check your phone and check it out because of the nation here. Because them same people were saying that St. Kitts is a mockery country. When Mark Bradley then sit down there and did not allow proper international observers to come into St. Kitts. When the observers them was in Suriname. Timothy Harris said 2 people from affiliated to him came here as observer. Listen to the clip. Let the world listen to the people saying this is what happened in 2020. That's why I say things, you know. We don't understand, brother. Let the people listen to that clip. Because when they're done, they're going to realize that Mark Bradley is an international lawyer and Timothy and all of them. Because they sit down there and they cook up everything. What Mark wanted to tell us, the TDC workers lose the money. He didn't hear nothing about it today already. Where he was. He on the ground. Mark, stop lying. Stop big fight with St. Kitts County EK. Stop it, man. Listen to EK yesterday. EK said he can't tell people don't go culture anymore. But Mark was telling people don't come out here for cricket. Don't come for this. The park is a waste of time. Music festival is this when he was in opposition. People don't forget. Think it's people ain't let that Mark. We're going to support it because it's nothing to do with you. We're going to continue supporting these people. Not you, Mark. You is the problem. You is a divided people. That's what you want to do. Because you said it some years ago. We mustn't come out in Nevis culture anymore. And vex and we keep your own thing. My brother, we're going to continue supporting Nevis. That's why they come Nevis all the time. Mark Bradley, Nevis people are need to get rid of Mark Bradley. He's no good for the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. My brother, you have a good day.
All right, caller, thank you for your contribution to this program. It is 11:30 and we are still taking your calls here on Voices. For those of you who just tuning in, I was sharing the Code of Conduct for the political process and some ethical guidelines issued by the associations. Let us head back to the phone lines. We'll take this call. You're on the air, caller. Good morning.
Good morning, Devon. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm good, thanks. And you?
And I'm giving God thanks, and every day I'm grateful to be alive.
All right.
It's good to live a stress-free life, you know. The Bible says, great peace have they who love God's word, and nothing will offend them. Look it up. The peace of God is what keeps you, you know. If you let every little thing disturb your peace, then you have none. Because what you can do, the enemy. And I love to hear Curtis, my good villager. The Bible says, if God should mark out sin, who will stand? He said, when you confess your sins, he forgive them and he wipe them away. Now, let me get to the code of conduct. I, for one, have been calling for it. And I'm glad they responded. However, the code is as good as the monitoring and the management of it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I follow you.
If you have all the rules and nobody's monitoring it, it becomes ineffective. So, in the NGO, assign some of your members to monitor it. Now they don't have to come on publicly across any party or candidate. But just to draw to their reminder, well, in section so you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Tone it down.
Mm-hmm.
Show them the section. Because sometimes the crowd, they get woke up with the crowd excitement. And before they know it, they're saying all kind of things that are slanderous, that are demeaning against the code. Mm-hmm. By the way, how many parties have signed the code?
I don't know. I know that it was sent to all the parties, but I don't know how many have signed thus far.
I want you to do that favor for me, because if they have not signed, they have not committed to it.
I don't know.
You're aware of that, right?
Right, but I can tell you that it was sent to all the political parties.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I remembered when they had one and they had sent it out, some parties had refused to sign. Now, when you don't sign, you're not committed to keep it,
Who are some of the parties that refused to sign?
I forgot. I don't want to call the wrong party name, but I know there was some hesitancy in some, and I think some outright refuse.
Mm-hmm.
Because, of course, the abusing got to go on. The name calling, the demonizing, and the whole works. And it has started. So with the code out there, it should be monitored. And whether they sign or not, draw it to their attention. Draw it to their attention, because it makes no sense sitting down watching things deteriorate.
Mm-hmm.
Now the one to the commission, electoral commission,
mm-hmm.
that again need monitoring. They could actually invite the parties to launch their complaints to them, Don't think that's a good idea?
I think so, yeah. I agree with you when you said earlier that the issue is not necessarily... Well, we know that we have these laws and guidelines in place, but it is a matter of enforcing them.
Yeah, monitoring them. So everybody on the platform saying, oh, well, the list corrupt, the whatever corrupt. Ask them to give you examples, because they say that the list is online now. All parties are responsible for monitoring the list. They're responsible for having their field workers to go into the field to back check. Because I know one of my relatives in Barbados told me, they go house to house. They have the list in their hand, and they go house to house.
Well, I can tell you that based on what I've seen, parties here in St. Kitts and Nevis have been doing that. They've been doing their house to house with their list and all of that.
Yeah, but with the list being updated, because they said there was a rush, So when new names go on,
mm-hmm.
because interesting, where I live, I have seen, updated list. I said, well, where these people come from?
Right.
Where they live?
Right. Well, quickly, because we want to take some more calls.
Yeah, but you understand what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I'm following you. Mm-hmm.
All right, then.
All right, thank you so much, caller. Let's take this other call. Okay, we seem to have lost that caller. Please call us back. Call us at 466-0989. There seems to be an issue with the 762 number. So try the 466 or the 662. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. When Douglas said he bagged from his pawn, it was the biggest discussion. Oh, Douglas said this, excellent. You hear that lady calling to address what I just said about Eugene Hamilton and the barrage, a bad road, and not to confusion with Talbot and any one of them? You hear or address that? I bet you it was Congress. Dr. Joe. The girl there who running in Central, Marsha, had them barrage a bad word. You ought to hear the export today. You know what she's talking about? Eugene Hamilton is the deputy prime minister of this country. Sylvia talk about senior citizen, the man in a stroller, the walker.
Well,
sit down on the bench.
Well, let me just say, maybe I could be wrong, but maybe it is a case where she did not hear any of the clips that are going around.
My brother,
Let's just say that.
She
I
ain't
don't
not
know.
hear the clip. She just hear me say it. May say it's alleged. Eugene Hamilton on a clip, writing up a man, a old man, and I got the clip. You can't play them because they got team bad word. They don't hear what they want to hear. Because I just say Hamilton can't come across the court. This is the facts. Because she tell you keep your hand on the buzzer. We're handing it to them on the buzzer. They know what they want to hear, what they want to hear. When Douglas makes statements, it's scrutinized. Man, well, it's the same kind of politician we need. But he was in there with all of them. That's what I'm saying. They hear what they want to hear. It needs to stop. The double standard. None of them want to come forward and change it. You cannot do the same thing if you get in power. Sylvian and all them time talk so. And I'm supporting Labour. Labour cannot give me the same politics because I'm going to scream out and I'm going to stand up in front of them and tell them, oh, you're going wrong. That's the time for that. I could say that. Big Lake saying it. Douglas Watley saying it. Boyer saying it. Sam saying it. Dr. Ike saying it. We want this style of politics to change and we must be able to stand in front of them and tell them they're going wrong. I'm saying to you, my brother, I just told you. Because there's also a clip with Charlie and Morton and Charles Morton attacking a wheelchair. We forget all these things. These are the top people in society. But scrutinize Cook because he called Timothy a big stone. But don't scrutinize them at the top, who in high society. Call yourself high society people. The evidence is there with the behavior. But we don't want to scrutinize. We don't want to do nothing but. As soon as the small man says something, everybody coming on the radio. Cook being disrespectful by calling Timothy a big stone. Cook sound angry. But what Carlin Morton was. What Eugene Hamilton be. What Calvo be. What Patches Leibert was. When he began the man in the battle in the park. What he be now. What Mark Bradley be when he saw on the program these days. But only the ordinary man can get angry. Let Sylvian discuss Calvo behavior. Let Sylvian discuss Eugene Hamilton behavior, Patch's behavior, Sean Richards behavior, her party leader, Lindsey Grant behavior, Jonell behavior. Nobody here not with no behavior from the Labour candidate. But if it was them, my God, you would not get room for calls.
All right.
You have a good day.
All right, Caller, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. I'll take this short break to give a shout out to our sponsors. And when we come back, we'll keep the program going right here on WINNFM 98.9. Let's take this break, and we will be right back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
TDC Financial Services. We're here for you to help you make your dreams come true. Whether your needs are big or small, we'll support you with them all. TDC Financial Services. We are strong. TDC Financial Services. This is where you belong.
TDC Financial Services, where money is made easy.
Enjoy an elevated experience with your Flow Home Internet and mobile combined.
Giving you the best rate for great savings.
With 120 gigs of double data for anything.
And unlimited talk.
On 4 mobile lines.
Simply combine your Flow Home Internet and mobile for the best rate and value. Unlock double data and unlimited talk on 4 mobile lines to go with home internet speeds up to 35 megabits per second. Visit a Flow store to sign up today. Conditions apply.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are solely those of the participant or caller and do not reflect the views of WINNFM 98.9. WINNFM reserves the right to disconnect any caller who infringes the law or offends the right of any person. The station will also refuse to take any call from any person who, in WINNFM's considered opinion, is likely to expose the station to liability for statements made on the air. Welcome back to Voices right here on WINNFM 98.9. Let's head back to the phone lines. We'll take this call. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Hello, caller. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for taking my call. What do you think about the Devon J?
Hello, yes, caller. Go ahead. I'm right here.
Yeah, what do you think about the current state of our Governor General? There was a picture circulating the other day with two guys holding him up, probably take him down a walkway or something. I mean, he doesn't look good. And if the gentleman's mind is good and his legs are weak, I think they should try to get the gentleman a wheelchair, even an electric wheelchair. You know, some people's legs could be bad. I think there's a gentleman that works in government headquarters. I think his name is Ian. He's wheelchair bound and, you know, he shows up to work diligently and he does his work. So the gentleman's brain is still functioning correct. I don't think we should have nobody walking on lifting up the gentleman when it could be, you know. And that brings another point that everything in the island, every business needs to be wheelchair accessible. If you're going to have the Governor General in a wheelchair and he's going to have to attend certain things, everything going to have to be wheelchair accessible. So I think we need to look in that. I need your opinion. What do you think about the state of our current Governor General?
I'd rather not comment.
All right, thanks.
All right. Thank you so much, caller, for your contribution to this program. We're still taking your calls right here on WINNFM 98.9. It is 11:44. The phone lines are open. Let's take your calls at 466-0989 or 662. We have an issue with the 76. We're trying to get it fixed, but it appears that when you call and we do answer, there is a buzz. So try the 466 or the 662. Let's head back to the phone lines. Caller. Hello, caller. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hello, good morning. Yeah, I'm going to change the thing a little bit, but we're on the same topic. It's a lot of talks about the results of the upcoming election and who got linked. It's a lot of talk about the Labour Party linking with them. Now, I am saying the people, they're not thinking clearly. It seems to me like the Labour leaders, they have a right. Yeah, it's like now they're the overseers, you know, and they're just waiting to become the plantation owners. So there could be a part of the elite group, which is the PEM people, that organization that was formed back in 1965, I think it was, to fight against the ordinary people. So it seems to me that the Labour Party is saying that they are willing to sleep with the enemy just to fight against themselves. Timothy Harris is a Labour man. He never yet said he represents any other things. The only thing he ever said is he represents France, Bradshaw, and Southwell. And it's why he called the party the People's Labour Party. In my view, they talk about treachery and crossing border and things like that. Me, support Labour hard. Pretty it up. Today, I am still supporting Labour. Only the orange fraction of the Labour Party. And the greatest treachery that the present leaders of the Labour Party commit against the supporters is to sell them out and join. Actually, it would be to go in against everything
that they themselves, the leadership, has taught the people to believe, to stand up and fight against. I gone done. I gonna tell Dougie. Cease the war. You turn with him, the people turn you away and get him the work. You can't blame him. Blame the people. Men fences with Harris. He's the rightful heir, a successor to the Labour Party. The PLP and the SNLP share the same ideology, which is to do as much that they can to advance the life of ordinary people. If we are paying attention, we will not allow ourselves to get caught up in a drama that can put us to fight against ourselves. Labour is Labour, and it is the one party that can form a government anytime on its own and run it for 20 years or more. Have a good day, my brother.
All right, and caller, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. Before we end, I just want to share with you a little bit more from what the Code of Conduct says. And this one now speaks to the voters. It says it is the individual's fundamental right to vote. A voter should therefore not abstain from voting without good reason. Let me repeat that. It is the individual's fundamental right to vote. A voter should therefore not abstain from voting without good reason. All persons eligible to register should seek at all times to be honest with the information they impart. Do not seek to vote more than once, and do not seek to vote in anyone else's name. Do not sell your vote. You thereby forfeit your freedom of choice and devalue your worth as a person. Exercise your responsibility for the well-being of St. Kitts and Nevis by voting for a candidate of ability and integrity. Integrity includes adherence to the ethical guidelines herein. Integrity, good character, and sound judgment as manifested in your behavior as a voter is important to the political process and those whom you seek to elect. Vote after serious consideration of all candidates' policies. Each person has a right to his or her views and to support the candidate he or she prefers. Respect must be maintained for the opinion of others. Each voter has a responsibility to obey the law and to promote the maintenance of law and order throughout the Federation. It also speaks to the media. It says, report the campaigning honestly and impartially. Ensure that news stories are accurate. Avoid the temptation to sensationalize reporting. Independent candidates and political parties should be given equitable access on all state media, including ZIZ Broadcasting Corporation and Nevis Television NTV, and encourage all media to do likewise. Election news coverage by state-owned media should also be balanced and fair, and not simply reserved for the reporting of any particular party's activities. All media houses must distinguish clearly between news and commentary and should report controversial issues fairly. The media must declare conflicts of interest, real or apparent, and safeguard their independence from government, commercial, or other interests seeking to subvert content for their own purposes. Media workers must conduct themselves professionally while defending freedom of information and resisting distortion, misrepresentation, and censorship. And this is to be signed, by leaders of all the political parties. We have listed here the Concerned Citizens Movement, the Nevis Reformation Party, the Moral Restoration Movement, the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, the People's Action Movement, and the People's Labour Party. Let's head back to the phone lines. We'll take some more calls before we wrap up the first hour of this program at 12. Of course, we come back at 12:30 to continue the program. Let's take this call. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Okay, we seem to have lost that caller. Please call us back at 466-0989 or 662-0989. 466-0989 or 662-0989. Call us and be part of the conversation. For those of you who are just joining the program, I used the opportunity earlier, for the program, to share with you the code of conduct for the political process. Let me hold that thought and head back to the phone line. We have a caller. Caller, good morning. You are on the air.
Yeah, Mr. Kalinas, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm fine, and you?
Not bad, given thanks.
I'm just trying something out here. Recently, we saw a picture with it's alleged to be the governor being assisted by two persons, right? But then we also knew, I don't know if you know, that one of the U.S. presidents and them was struck with polio while he was in office. You remember that, right?
Yes, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, one of the U.S. president was confined to a wheelchair, right? And he was able to serve out his term. The reason why I'm bringing this up is that we don't know whether or not the seemingly affliction, because we see the going in his head, is affecting his mental capacity. If it is not, I don't see why he can't serve out his term until whenever he decides to retire. I mean, you understand the point I'm trying to raise?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I just need to throw that across. I mean, if he's mentally capable of performing his job, then whether or not he has to be helped by people to assist him around, I don't see that there's a problem. And as I mentioned before, one of the U.S. president was afflicted with polio, I think it was, and he was confined to a wheelchair, and he stayed until his term was ended, as far as I could remember, as far as history said. Okay?
Right.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and thank you so much, caller, for your contribution to this program. It is 11:55. Let's take a short break, and we'll be right back to close out the first hour of Voices right here on WINNFM 98.9.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Enjoy the convenience of getting all your documents in one place. At the TDC Copy and Print Center on 4th Street in Basse-Terre, we do just that. We offer document formatting, graphic design, and copy and print services. Our team of professionals truly understand all your needs, whether it be administrative, professional, academic, or personal. You bring it, we deliver it with quality every time. Visit the TDC Copy and Print Center today in the TDC Mall on 4th Street in Basse-Terre or call 465-2511. Your copy and print specialists are waiting to serve you.
Hey kids, drink healthy! Reduce sugar chubby with the same great taste. Lots of magic fruity flavors, drink the more healthy way.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby.
25% less sugar chubby. Be active, be healthy, drink lots of chubby. Kicking football, playing cricket, having fun in the sun.
It's chubby.
Reduced sugar chubby keeps you cool and refreshed.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby.
25% less sugar chubby. Jumping rope, running races, have fun.
It tastes so yummy, chubby.
Drink the more healthy way.
Enjoy an elevated experience with your Flow Home Internet and mobile combined.
Giving you the best rate for great savings.
With 120 gigs of double data for anything.
And unlimited talk.
On 4 mobile lines.
Simply combine your Flow Home Internet and mobile for the best rate and value. Unlock double data and unlimited talk on 4 mobile lines to go with home internet speeds up to 35 megabits per second. Visit a Flow store to sign up today. Conditions apply.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are solely those of the participant or caller and do not reflect the views of WINNFM 98.9. WINNFM reserves the right to disconnect any caller who infringes the law or offends the right of any person. The station will also refuse to take any call from any person who, in WINNFM's considered opinion, is likely to expose the station to liability for statements made on the air. Welcome back to Voices right here on WINNFM 98.9. It is 11:58. Just a few minutes left before we close out the first hour of this program. Of course, we have coming up at 12 noon the midday news, headline news, that is. And we will continue the conversation after. We have one caller, so we'll take this call and then we'll wrap up the program. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Mr. Cornelius, I don't know how you'll view this, but I always feel like every voter should be able to vote for every seat. You got 11 constituencies. And I have of the opinion that a voting, well, I don't know if you'll call it a vote, but I believe that the ballot paper should have on the names of all candidates nominated. And you should be able to tick among, you cannot tick more than 11, well, I think we have 11 seats. You cannot tick more than 11 spots. But you could tick those you feel like is good enough for you. So which means you could tick less than, well, 11 or less than 11. I don't know how you view that. I'd like to hear your opinion.
All right, caller, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. Well, we are out of time, but definitely when I come back right after the headline news, I will give my take on that. So stick and stay, and we will be back right after the headline news to continue this conversation. But that is an interesting thought by you, sir. This has been the first hour of Voices right here on WINNFM 98.9. And I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining me on the program today. Thank you for your contribution, your calls, and for making Voices what it has been today. Of course, we will take the break now for the headline news, and when we come back, we will keep the conversation flowing. The phone lines are going to be open, so you are free to call and to share your opinion on the current state of affairs here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And in terms of our politics and anything else that you would like to raise within that topic. And so we'll take this break now, and when we come back, we will continue the conversation. It is 12 o'clock on the dot. Stick and stay. We will be right back. I've been your host for the first hour, Devon Cornelius.
You found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, Carib Brewery, and National Bank.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Dealing well with a local reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business, property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we got you covered. 130 years in this business, we got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit or call us at 469 or 469-5303. Dealey Walwyn, people you can trust.
Stop standing in long ATM lines to withdraw cash. Use your national debit or black cards to complete a wide variety of transactions at supermarkets, variety stores, gas stations, pharmacies, and more. Shop online at the most popular websites and stores for quality brands using your national debit or black cards. And take back your time to enjoy all the things that you love to do. Remember, instead of waiting in long ATM lines to withdraw cash, use your national bank cards today.
National Bank, always here.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
With over a century of perfection behind the Mackeson name, a smooth blend with perfect balance and richness, it's no wonder Mackeson Triple Stout has a legacy of perfection. Enjoy the world over. Introducing our new look with the same great taste. Mackeson. All hail the king.
Please drink responsibly.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
With the WIN Headline News, I am Kevon Brown.
And I am Yulana Weeks.
Making the headlines.
Pastor Ron Daniel calls on Prime Minister Harris to announce election. Says the country is missing out on critical matters and international engagements.
9 scholarships available for studies in Cuba.
The Pediatric Assistance League of St. Kitts and Nevis requests financial assistance for Bria Arthurton.
Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, tests positive for COVID-19. Puerto Rico's government suspends taxes on gasoline for 45 days to curb rising fuel prices. Internationally, ex-President Donald Trump put his Vice President Mike Pence in danger during the January 9th Capitol riot as he illegally pressured him to quash the 2020 election, says a congressional panel. Now, the details.
Pastor of the Newcastle Wesleyan Holiness Church, Reverend Ron Daniel, is calling on the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, the Honorable Dr. Timothy Harris, to announce the election date soonest. He implies that it has been more than a month since the leader announced the dissolution of Parliament, and during this period of waiting, the country is missing out on critical international engagements. Reverend Daniel, via his social media platform, expressed, quote, "Having dissolved the House more than a month ago, we are also missing out on critical international engagements like the 2022 Summit of the Americas inter alia, where there was no representation from our federation's leaders because of the political situation here. There are ministries that are not getting the proper ministerial oversight, especially with only 3 elected ministers doing the job that 9 were supposed to be doing. Obviously, things are falling through the cracks, as there is only so much one person can do. The eyes of the Caribbean are also on us, and what we do will in some way influence not merely their opinion of us, but also maybe their actions moving forward. I wouldn't wish this present situation of political instability on any other Caribbean country." End quote. Daniel added that St. Kitts and Nevis has serious issues to attend to, which needs a full government in place. Some of the major issues being the corona crisis, the spiraling cost of fuel, the increase in food prices throughout the world, the attack on CBI programs throughout the Caribbean, climate change and its impact on our environment, the Russia-Ukraine war, and its effects on the local economy, among other things. Dr. Harris on May 10, 2022, announced the dissolution of Parliament and the firing of 6 cabinet ministers, which followed the fallout between the members of the Team Unity government and the filing of a motion of no confidence in the leadership of Prime Minister Harris. According to the Constitution of St. Kitts and Nevis, elections should be called within 90 days. Daniel said, quote, "The situation in St. Kitts Nevis, to my mind, has become untenable as the Prime Minister is ruling the government with only 3 elected representatives, including himself. So there is clearly not a majority with 11 constituencies." End quote. The pastor shared his belief that Prime Minister Harris has a moral responsibility to call the elections, adding that this needs to be over and done with so that we can have peace and stability in our democracy. The country has been in campaign mode for several months, as 6 political parties have announced their intention to contest the upcoming St. Kitts Nevis general election. The election date should be announced by August 8, 2022, which is the end of the 90-day period. The wait for the announcement of an election date has led to several discussions on the Prime Minister's morals, the day-to-day uncertainties, and the need for constitutional reform.
Academic scholarships for tertiary study in the Republic of Cuba are available for students interested in pursuing studies in the medical field for the 2023 academic year. According to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, applications are now open to interested individuals in the Federation. The 9 scholarships are being offered in the following areas: 5 scholarships in medicine, 1 scholarship for nursing or health technology, 2 scholarships for specialization in medicine, 1 scholarship for a non-medical discipline. Those who wish to pursue a medical specialty must have graduated from Cuba with a medical degree. Eligible candidates should be under 25, a high school or college graduate, and come from low-income families. Applicants should submit the following documents to Ms. Jamila Adams at the Human Resource Management Department at Government Headquarters: a certified copy of their degree, a certified copy of transcripts, an original health certificate indicating a negative HIV test result, a certification that shows female applicants are not pregnant, a criminal record, and 10 size 1 by 1 inch photos. The deadline for submissions and supporting documents is August 31st.
The Pediatric League of St. Kitts and Nevis, PALS, is seeking the community's financial assistance to help save the life of a child. 3-year-old Bria Atherton is in critical condition as she, on June 12, 2022, suffered a ruptured esophageal vein. According to PALS, the child is in need of urgent medical assistance at a hospital overseas and will need to travel via air ambulance. The cost of the surgery is quite expensive, hence the need for financial assistance. In 2021, Bria was admitted to the Joseph and France General Hospital and was diagnosed with esophageal varices, a life-threatening disease that causes severe bleeding. Through the assistance of PALS, the child was taken to Santo Domingo, where she had several band ligation procedures, but that was just a temporary solution. To contribute to Bria Atherton's medical fund, donations can be made to Pediatric Assistance League at Republic Bank, account number 9302-0000-3717, or dropped off at Harper's Office Depot.
In regional news, Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, tests positive for COVID-19. Puerto Rico's government suspends taxes on gasoline for 45 days to curb rising fuel prices. Those reports and more from Carib Update.
This is the Carib Update News Service. I am Wendy Chateau reporting. St. Vincent's Prime Minister tested positive for COVID. This is the big story we're tracking this hour on Friday, June 17, 2022. Details of this story and more straight ahead. Now for the details. Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. Ralph Gonzalez, has tested positive for COVID-19. A statement from his office on Thursday said he will remain in quarantine until Monday. As a result, he will not be able to leave on Sunday to attend the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Kigali, Rwanda. The statement said the Prime Minister has no adverse health reaction and is working at home. Dr. Gonzalez, who is 75, is vaccinated against COVID-19. Puerto Rico's governor has signed a measure suspending taxes on gasoline and diesel for 45 days amid the worldwide surge in petroleum prices. The United States territory currently imposes a tax of 16 cents per gallon of gasoline and 4 cents per gallon of diesel. Governor Pedro Pierluisi said an additional $25 million will be added to the government's general fund to make up for the loss of revenue as a result of the temporary tax moratorium. Officials say they expect a gallon of gasoline in Puerto Rico to reach $6 in the upcoming months. Experts blame the rising prices on higher crude oil costs and limited gasoline supplies following disruptions from the COVID-19 pandemic and partly from Russia's invasion of Ukraine. This is Newsbreak from the Carib Update News Service. In more news, a group of House Democrats in the United States is urging the Biden administration to further soften sanctions against Cuba to aid distribution of the Caribbean nation's COVID-19 vaccines worldwide. In a letter led by Representatives Ayanna Pressley and Steve Cohen, the lawmakers praised President Biden's loosening of travel and remittance restrictions to the island while asking for bilateral cooperation on public health. The Democrats' appeal is certain to anger proponents of a harsher Cuba policy on either side of the aisle. But the Biden administration has shown willingness to slowly reconsider restrictions imposed on the island by the Trump administration, particularly on policy areas with humanitarian ramifications. The Democrats' appeal also rests on the need for COVID-19 vaccinations for low-income countries that either cannot afford vaccines that have become widespread in richer countries or where conditions make it difficult to widely distribute vaccines that require special care, like refrigeration. Cuba, despite its economic limitations, has historically punched above its weight in public health policy. Cuba, once legendary for its sugar cane, produced only about half the sugar it had hoped to this season, and authorities acknowledge that while they will cover internal demand, they will not be able to meet their international commitments. Dionis Perez, Director of Communication at ASCUBA, the government agency that regulates sugar production on the island, told reporters that this year's harvest was 53% of the target. Perez did not see how much sugar had been harvested, but at the end of last year, Economy Minister Alejandro Gil said the state plan was to produce 911,000 tons this sugar harvest, which concluded in May. The percentage given by Perez will mean that production was about 482,000 tons. This has been another edition of Newsbreak from the Carib Update News Service, the Caribbean's newsroom. I am Wendy Chateau reporting.
We now bring you these international reports.
A U.S. congressional committee's heard more damning evidence about Donald Trump's apparent attempts to overturn the results of the 2020 election. Witnesses described how Mr. Trump and his aides put pressure on the former Vice President Mike Pence not to validate Joe Biden's victory. Our North America correspondent Peter Bowes reports.
Another compelling hearing dissecting the events that led up to the January the 6th attack on the US Capitol. It focused on the role of the former Vice President, Mike Pence, who was pressurized by Donald Trump to overturn the result of the 2020 election. The committee revealed testimony from senior members of the Trump administration that they believe is evidence that the former president knew his actions were against the law.
The former president wanted Pence to reject the votes and either declare Trump the winner or send the votes back to the states to be counted again. Mike Pence said no. He resisted the pressure. He knew it was illegal. He knew it was wrong. We're fortunate for Mr. Pence's courage.
The Capitol came under attack as Mr. Pence was certifying the election result, defying Donald Trump, who he'd spoken to earlier in the day.
There's a telephone conversation between the president and the vice president, is that correct?
Yes. The conversation was pretty heated.
My memory, I remember hearing the word wimp. Either he called him a wimp. I don't remember if he said, you are a wimp, you'll be a wimp. Wimp is the word I remember.
The committee was shown footage of rioters threatening to hang Mike Pence when it became known he'd refused to go along with the president's plan.
I'm telling you what, I'm hearing the Pence just caved.
No.
Is that true? I'm hearing reports that Pence caved.
No
I'm
way.
telling you, if Pence caved, we're going to drag through the streets.
At one point, the vice president was within 12 metres of the rioters. He was rushed out of the Senate chamber and spent several hours in a secure underground location. The committee was shown a tweet by Donald Trump when he knew the Capitol had been breached. He wrote, "Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done to protect our country and our Constitution. USA demands the truth." The testimony revealed during the hearing is notable because much of it comes from those in Mr. Trump's inner circle. A conservative federal judge and former advisor to Mike Pence told the committee if the former president had got his way, there would have been dire consequences for the country.
That declaration of Donald Trump as the next president would have plunged America into what I believe would have been tantamount to a revolution.
He added that with Mr. Trump likely to try to regain the presidency in 2024, he and his allies and supporters were still a clear and present danger to American democracy. The committee says the next hearing will focus on efforts to apply pressure on Republican state officials to reverse election results which were lawful. Peter Bowes, BBC News.
There are heatwave warnings for countries across Europe this week. Temperatures across Spain and France have been well above average for several days, and the heat's expected to peak this weekend. In France, authorities are fighting forest fires on a 6th day of sweltering temperatures. And as Russell Trott reports, there's no sign of any let-up until at least Sunday.
They're used to heat waves in Spain, just not this early in the summer season and certainly not this hot. With the high temperatures comes the inevitable wildfires. Across the Pyrenees, they're banning outdoor public events. I'm going to sign a decree which prohibits all outdoor public demonstrations or those held in non-air-conditioned premises, said Fabien Berchiot, prefect of the Gironde. This measure will apply from tomorrow until the end of the heat wave. This is how they're keeping cool in some schools. This headmistress says watering the playground will prevent her pupils from getting heat stroke. Whilst Portugal saw its hottest May since 1931, the French Weather Service said it was the earliest hot spell ever to hit the country. The hot zone is expected to move into Central Europe, Italy, the Alpine countries and even the south of Germany. Scientists warn that as global temperatures rise over time, heat waves are predicted to become more frequent and intense and longer lasting, and their impacts more widespread. Russell Trott, BBC News.
Migrants at a bus station in Monterrey, Mexico. It's a large crowd, and it's growing. So is the frustration. Though Mexico's government recently granted special transit visas to migrants, which allow them to travel freely anywhere in the country, many say federal and state police have been illegally returning them to Monterrey with no regard for their health or safety.
We are not criminals, we are human beings. No human being on this planet is illegal. Please let us go on our way.
Migrants say authorities are also giving them false information. Video obtained by Al Jazeera appears to show a Mexican police officer telling passengers aboard a bus that their visas are not valid.
You cannot travel toward a border. That's the first point. That's why we're here, because the United States, it's politics, because the government complains to Mexico, because we're allowing access through the borders.
Mexican immigration authorities declined our request for an on-camera comment, but told Al Jazeera the conduct of Mexican officers in the recorded video would be examined. Another video, recorded in Guatemala, appears to show a police officer holding cash in his hands and asking passengers for money. Roberto, a migrant from Venezuela who gave us the footage, has asked us not to reveal his identity. He says shakedowns by corrupt police along the entire migrant route are commonplace.
I said to the officer, please, I can't give you the money. I don't have it. He said, I'm not interested. Give me the money or find another border.
We shared Roberto's video with authorities in Guatemala and received the following response.
La Inspectoría General de la Policía Nacional Civil.
The Inspector General of the National Civil Police has launched an investigation to hold these two police officers responsible. They can clearly be seen in a video receiving an amount of money.
Migrants who travel across Mexico on their way to the United States face many threats, including extortion, robbery, and kidnapping. Human rights activists in Mexico have called on Mexican officials, as well as on criminal cartels who operate along Mexico's northern border, to respect the rights of migrants as they transit the country. Manuel Rapalo, Al Jazeera.
You were listening to the WINNFM Headline News on 98.9. Our top stories were:
Pastor Ron Daniel calls on Prime Minister Harris to announce election. Says the country is missing out on critical matters and international engagements.
9 scholarships available for studies in Cuba.
The Pediatric Assistance League of St. Kitts and Nevis requests financial assistance for Bria Arthurton.
Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, tests positive for COVID-19. Puerto Rico's government suspends taxes on gasoline for 45 days to curb rising fuel prices. Internationally, ex-President Donald Trump put his Vice President Mike Pence in danger during the January 9th Capitol riot as he illegally pressured him to quash the 2020 election, says a congressional panel. Thank you for listening.
That was the WINNFM Headline News. The Headline News is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, Carib Brewery, and National Bank.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Did you know that National Bank offers very favorable terms and low interest rate to switch your home mortgage? Our in-house legal department will process your mortgage in a jiffy and free of cost. Switch your home mortgage now and get a peace of mind knowing that we are here for you. National Bank, always here.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Dealing well with a low reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business, property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we got you covered. 130 years in this business, we've got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit or call us at 465-2631 or 469-5303. Delia Walwyn, people you can trust.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
It's that time of the year again. The time when Horsewood Furniture and Appliances gives away millions in cash back for free groceries with every FlexPlay purchase. Never-ending cash back for the past 25 years. SL Horsewood and Company Limited, Horsewood Furniture and Appliances Showroom, Ashley Furniture Home Store, in collaboration with Value Mart IGA, has given customers millions of dollars in cash back for free groceries with every hire purchase in their never-ending cash back. Yes, the Horsewood's Cash Back Free Groceries annual program and promotion is the biggest and longest running of its kind in the Federation. Come today and get cashback coupons for absolutely free groceries in the never-ending cashback promotion. Yes, happening now. Get cashback coupons for absolutely free groceries with every hire purchase. The never-ending cashback is back at Horsewood Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Home Store, where you get cashback coupons for free groceries with every FlexPay purchase. Never-ending savings, never-ending discounts, never-ending quality and service. It's the never-ending cashback. Don't miss it. Terms and conditions apply.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are solely those of the participant or caller and do not reflect the views of WINNFM 98.9. WINNFM reserves the right to disconnect any caller who infringes the law or offends the right of any person. The station will also refuse to take any call from any person who, in WINNFM's considered opinion, is likely to expose the station to liability for statements made on the air. Welcome back to Voices right here on WINNFM 98.9. It is 12:33 and we are going to continue the program for today. The phone lines are open and we are taking your calls at 466-0989 or 762-0989. It's 12:33 and we're going to get this program started right now. No, just before we went for the headline news, there was a question from a caller which I thought was rather interesting. So I hope that the caller is listening. He posed a question with regards to whether, what is my take on candidates, or people rather, a voter being able to vote in all constituencies. So, in other words, you as a registered voter, should you be allowed to vote for the 11 constituencies in St. Kitts and Nevis? So you're registered to vote. Should you be able to vote in for the 11 constituencies in St. Kitts and Nevis? Let me hold that thought. I'll give the response, but there's a call on the line, so we'll take this call. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air. This is Voices.
You voting for representative. So you vote where you register. You vote where you register. Or you vote for a representative. We voting for Prime Minister. The representative vote for the Prime Minister. We vote for representative. So you can't vote in the 11 constituencies. Or you voting for an individual representative for your area.
All right, caller, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. So, yes, that was the question. Should you be able to vote in the 11 constituencies? No, I believe that your vote should be based on residency. So, if you live in constituency number 1, you should not vote for a representative, or you should not vote for or in constituency number 4, for example. Your vote should be based, just like what the caller just said, your vote should be based on residency, because you're voting for elected representatives. You're voting for representatives. Now, let's say you live in constituency number 8, which is the largest constituency here in St. Kitts in terms of the number of registrants or registered voters. And that constituency is larger than let's say constituency number 2 or constituency number 1 in terms of the registered voters. And so right there and then you see that if the constituency number 8 has a particular political affiliation or persuasion where it is believed, or based on the facts, based on the data, they've been voting this way or they've been voting that way or they are likely to vote that way, you may end up in a situation where the people of number 8 would be choosing the representative for number 2, when really and truly the people in number 2 do not want that representative. But because the numbers coming out of number 8 are much larger, a greater margin than that in number 2, even though the people in number 2 vote and say, well, we want John Doe to represent us, because the numbers in number 8, the margin is so large, it tramples that of number 2. Let's head back to the phone lines. Okay, we seem to have lost that caller. Please, call us back at 466-0989 or 662-0989. 466-0989. We're taking your calls right here on Voices on WINNFM 98.9. So I hope the caller was listening. That was my response to your question. Let's take this call. Caller, good afternoon. You're on Voices.
Greetings, Mr. Cornelius. This is Delonte Lewis from the People's Labour Party.
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Lewis. How are you?
I just want to call in to assure the public that the PLP candidate launch is on The social media circulated fake news on the postponement of the event will not deter the efforts of the PLP to focus its energy on building a stronger economy and delivering a secure future for all. So on Saturday, the 18th, Greenland's pasture at 6 p.m., we present our team to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. St. Kitts and Nevis, all are welcome. So Cornelius, I just want to put that out there, that the event slated for tomorrow for the People's Labour Party is not postponed.
All right. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lewis, for your contribution to this program. We are still taking your calls right here on Voices on WINNFM 98.9. It is 12:38. The phone lines are open and we are taking your calls. The caller who posed the question just before the headline news, I gave my response, and I hope that you were listening. Let's head back to the phone lines. We'll take some more calls. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yes, good afternoon again, Mr. Cornelius.
Yes.
Hope you had your lunch.
Good afternoon. Yes, I did.
Yeah, the Bible said, don't let nobody rob your joy. Don't let nobody rob your joy. Back to the code of conduct for the media houses and the journalists. That is crucial, It could have to make or break. Has the St. Kitts Media Association met to take a look at the code of conduct for them?
I do not know. What I can tell you, what I could tell you is that I know it was, well, the code of conduct is out there, so I would assume that the executive of the St. Kitts and Nevis Media Association, they've seen and have reviewed it, but I can't say for a fact. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think all the media houses need to take a serious look at it. And the journalists or the media workers, because you have stations that are branded. This one is Labour, this one is PAM, this one is PLP. And you wonder, where is the objectivity? And they spoke about the influence, the slant and the bias. And that's nothing new. That is nothing new. Sometimes you listen to certain, what I must call them, journalists or media workers.
Well, same, journalists, media workers, yeah.
All right. Presenting one-side argument. I want to read them again. I think it is good to give access to everybody. But when it becomes obvious to the listeners or the viewers that the comments are biased, we're going on a slippery slope. You listen to how, as they said, even the news you present could be slant, I don't see you, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Even the news presented sometimes have a certain bias, and it creates uneasiness, and the people consider the media houses sometimes to be untrustworthy.
Mm-hmm. How would you determine a news item or an article to be biased?
Now, read that part of the thing for me.
What part?
That part of in the code for the media workers. I'm going to ask you to read it again so we get it.
Well, it says reporting the campaign in honestly and impartially, ensure that the news stories are accurate, and avoid the temptation to sensationalize reporting. Independent candidates and political parties should be given equitable access to all state media, including ZIZ and NTV, and encourage all media to do likewise. It goes on to say, election news coverage by state-owned media should be balanced and fair, and not simply reserved for the reporting of any particular party's activities. All media houses must distinguish clearly between news and commentary, and should report controversial issues fairly. The media must declare conflicts of interest, real or apparent, and safeguard their independence from government, commercial, or other interests seeking to subvert content for their own purposes. Media workers must conduct themselves professionally while defending freedom of information and resisting misrepresentation and censorship.
You know what they say is quite important. How do you rate what they say?
What the association said here?
Yes, what the communique says.
I totally agree with it. If I had to give it a scale of 1 to 10, I would say 10 on 10. I totally agree.
Right. How do you rate what takes place in the Federation? Not in a particular station. How do you rate the general reporting, the general communicating of ideas?
I would say it's fair. After listening to because I believe in not just listening to one media house.
No, I don't.
Whether it be radio station, TV station, newspaper, I believe in listening to everybody. So I would say based on what I've been hearing, in my opinion, it is fair.
So I hope your association meets upon Andrew Huey.
Mm-hmm.
Because the further we get into the election mode, then you will see, because we talk about resisting conflict of interest. You heard about the conflict of interest?
Yes.
Where parties, companies, groups begin, because, there is the idea that people are planted or placed or hired on some radio station based on their political leaning, which may just be something people imagine, but it could also be true. And if we want to have fair reporting, because our people are over the energy, they're overworking themselves. We're talking about they cursing each other, this one cursing the other one.
All right.
You know, and when they come to the station, you let them see this is the code, this is what we expect on our station.
Well, what I want to add to that too is that I think what we have to do, what the general public has to do, influential people, is encourage businesses, companies, and people who may want to market or promote their business with a particular media house. Not to do it with any, what's the word I'm looking for, any ill intent. Because at the same time, we have to remember that the media houses themselves, they have to stay afloat. They have to be able to pay their staff. They have to be able to, in order for you to hear me through the airwaves, it has to be paid for. And so, companies, big or small, have to understand that not because you market with a particular media house that they should come and say all the glorious things about you. That is not what it should be, and that is not what it is.
Yes, I am looking forward and listening.
All right. Well, we have some other callers.
A lot is left to be desired of the media houses in St. Kitts.
All right, caller. Thank you so much. Let's take this other caller. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yes, hi. Good afternoon, Miss Cornelius. I'm calling to respond to that gentleman who called before you went on the news break, that he would like it to be able to see where you can vote for all the candidates instead of just voting for candidates in your constituency.
Yes, go ahead.
Maybe they will have to change it where they have change them to governors, in the sense that where you will have a governor for last year and all the candidates who used to be running in constituency, their names will be on the list of for governors candidates. Then you'll be able to vote on everyone and pick which one you think will be the best person for the governor for Basti. Then in the countryside, they split the country in two, the east or west side, and have a governor also for each area. And then all the candidates that run in the constituency names will go down on the governor. Then the person pick who they think will be the best to govern the whole area. And then they can have like congressmen and congresswomen who used to be the delegates for the different east and west. They could have congressmen and women for those areas that will report to the governor the concerns of the people and stuff, because here in the US we have, of course, governors, senators, congressmen, and congresswomen. And like for instance, in Miami, we have 2 counties, Broward and Dade, and then you choose the governor for Miami, and you know who you have for going to govern. He governed the whole of Miami, but then you have congresswomen and congressmen for the different boroughs, where you have what do you call them, constituencies,
yeah.
Up here, right, up here they would have, in the for constituency now, they will put, like say, the senators, and they'll have congressmen and congresswomen. So when people have problems, they go to the congressman or congresswoman office and tell them what the issues are locally, and then they make sure that they go to the governor to rectify whatever the problems is. If they want to vote on everybody, I think that's the only way they can do that.
Mm-hmm. All right, I follow you. So basically, it's electoral reform.
Yes, they need to do. Yeah. That's the only way they can get that too. Because, for instance, like you see, Jeffries running in number 1, and all the candidates in number 1, and all the candidates for East and West Bastia, they will go on the list underneath. They're running for governorship. You see, and then the people will vote on which one of them they think is best. And they have to put down the issues that they are giving will be underneath them. So when you go on the ballot, you will see what issues they are saying that they're going to rectify. So then now you get to vote on the issues and choose which one better suit you, instead of just going for district and the issues are not there, because up here we got to vote, but we have the issues under the person's name, so what they're going to do. So you could read for yourself and put all the issues from each candidate together and see which one you think is what you need and what will better your life and the life of the country.
Right. I see what you're saying, and
they need to reform that, and that might be a good way, because then all this politics drama about you labor, you PAM, you this, you that, and people ain't liking each other and fighting against each other. They will take all of that out the window.
Right. McCullough, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. But I like that.
That's to the gentleman who called.
All right, thank you so much.
That might be a way to go forward with his his suggestion and ideas of what he would like to be able to vote on everybody.
All right, thank you so much, Carla, for your contribution to this program. We're still taking your calls here on Voices on WINNFM 98.9. That is a great suggestion, actually. What that may not be able to happen in our current electoral system. So what we may need is electoral reform. Let's head back to the phone lines. And caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Cornelius.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm giving thanks for life, my brother. And yourself?
Not bad at all. Happy to be here.
Yes, okay. Earlier before the lunch break, you read out what the expectations are from, the NGO group as to the moral code and what pertains to an individual and voter by not, selling the vote and, contemplating on things before you go to the polls and weighing all of the issues that you would have garnered throughout a couple of months of the political process, and in which we call the silly season. And what caught my attention much is that it would be good, Mr. Cornelius, and the earnest is even on the media. The media are, let's say, the third state. And the earnest is on the media. If we can get a breakdown, we may not be able to know how many youth that are, in the political making decision. But we will all agree that is the young population that is going to carry any coming election. Because overall, I think Nevis is a young nation. Young in terms of our independency when we became independent, young in terms of the demographic, in terms of the voting population, the age range, and it would be like almost 2/3 of that group, the demographic in what the category of the young youth. So that depends on a lot. Why I said so, Mr. Cornelius, I listened to the Inside the News program Saturday last, and I identify at least one voice, Mr. Gums, Azad Gums. And I think he was there representing the youth of the People's Action Movement. I don't know what how many hosts it was from other political parties because I was in and out. But what shocked me most, I listened to another Gums on the point on the Tuesday before the Saturday. It was a panel of 3 young persons. The Inside the News was a panel of young persons also. But during my investigation, I discovered that I ran into the father. Up to the time, he's a taxi person, tour guide. So I said, someone jog my recollection to that. This Gums is the son. He said he admitted it's his son also, a younger son to Azad, his sibling. And those guys came across so mature. I say, well, if I had any doubt that Tinkerson Nevis was in bad hands in terms of our youth going forward, all of those doubts was allayed in terms of, yes, our youth can really take this, what we call this orange economy forward. And I think what prompted Mr. Assad Gums and, in my own opinion, to have a program, although sometimes some of these things might be arranged that they will be on the Saturday Inside the News, I don't know. But gleaning from the Tuesday's conversation on the point, any other party, youth of the youth wing, would have wanted to really come to the fore and to tell the people that we have this, we have it as youth. We're going forward. This is our perspective, our party's perspective. Because I heard the perspective of the PLP on the point that Tuesday. And I said, well, if the PLP as the youngest party, and I heard Mr. Cornelius, I heard another party, a 6th party in the political fray. If you have any more information on it, because that's new to me, can you disclose as to what that 6th party is? Some kind of quite some moral something.
The moral restoration movement.
Thank you. Yes. So our youth, the demographic of our politics in terms of the voters, we need to place an eye on that. And in my opinion, it is impressive with the PLP at this moment, even though, because they are the youngest party, and even though we know the PAM and the St. Nevis Labour Party, I mean the CCM and the NRP on the island of Nevis have a youth group. They have the youth groups. But it is the youth are up for grabs in terms of their vision, their innovation going forward. What can you bring to this thing here? And I'm seeing signs that we are in the right direction. I'm not in that age no more, but I have 3 daughters. So that fit that category. I don't ask them where they vote. Probably only 1 or 2 of them are eligible. I don't have those type of conversation with them.
All right.
So our youth are in good hands, but the youth group, the demography is to be looked at, and the momentum, for me, in my own opinion, is with the PLP. So kudos to all youth.
All right, caller. Thank you so much for
Collectively, they will take our Nevis forward.
All right.
Thanks for listening.
All right, and thank you so much for your contribution to this program. With regards to the Moral Restoration Movement, it's a new party on Nevis, and that movement is headed by Samuel Keynes. Let us head back to the phone lines. We'll take some more calls. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Good afternoon. Devon, is it?
Yes, good afternoon. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm glad that the NGOs issued recommendations for a code of conduct for the parties. the intervention in our politics, I think, is somewhat belated, but better late than never. And the code of conduct, I think, extends to the candidates as well, not just parties. And as was suggested, these should be monitored, or there should be some monitoring mechanism and pronouncements on the adherence to this code of conduct should be made. Because that has been one of the problems. The entities that are supposed to provide checks and balances and hold public officials accountable, or those vying for office, they are not muscular enough. They are too timid. They're too afraid to offend the offenders. Okay? And yes, I know the NGOs are not vested with lawful authority to sanction for non-compliance, but one can argue that at least they have the moral authority to do so. No one can look at our present situation and think that politicians and parties are going to listen to the NGOs, okay? Because right now everybody seems like they're in win-at-all-cost mode, okay? And the NGOs' carefully worded code of conduct, I think it seems more intended to appease and walk a thin line rather than call a spade and spade, you know, and come straight out with a more vigorous defense of our democracy, okay? For there are candidates who are already infringing this code of conduct, okay? But you're not going to hear the NGOs call them out by name, right? You got to name and shame, otherwise nobody going to take them on. But one entity that is charged with making sure our electoral system works is the Electoral Commission and the Electoral Office. And Mr. Bailey, who I think is in charge, I would have thought by now there would have been regular updates on what is happening there, education of the voters, and the responsibilities of the candidates and the parties, okay? Because we're just a couple of weeks away from an election, right? We've seen pictures of, for instance, police moving paraphernalia in the vicinity of the electoral office. It might be just ordinary mundane activity, customary stuff, but I think the onus is on the electoral office to remove all suspicion. All right? This is not a department that should be run under a cloud of secrecy. Right? If we are to have confidence in our electoral process, if we are to be confident that the elections are going to be free and fair, then anything that would create suspicion should be countered. Okay? And given our environment, I'm wondering if even at this stage, observers, independent observers, whether from the Commonwealth or the OS or whoever, should not be present on the ground to monitor things already. Okay? Because there is a lot of stake in these elections. I think we'll all agree that it is not an ordinary election. You know, it's once in a lifetime. It's a once in a lifetime type of elections. Okay, it's new to us. This kind of environment, this kind of these multiple parties and possible coalitions, etc., etc. Okay, and in that complex situation, I really think that any organization which is in support of democracy and which makes sure that there are free and fair elections, they should give us assistance in terms of making sure that we have such. Okay, that's essentially is my view. Whether or not that will happen, I don't know. I very much doubt it. Like I said, the incumbent party, I think, is pulling out all the stops and using all kinds of resources, including state, to make sure they are positioned in such a way to compete with the other traditional parties. And so I don't expect that we're going to have much assistance from them to try and prevent that and make sure that the playing field is level. I very much doubt that. Okay? And in my opinion, we already have the situation where the democracy has been undermined, right? This whole concept of the majority having the say has already been undermined in the way that things have unfolded in terms of for instance, the cabinet, what has happened in terms of the cabinet and the members of parliament, what they've done, okay, and the response of one of the parties to it. In my opinion, it is undemocratic, okay, and so I would expect that they're going to go all the way and do whatever it takes to continue to undermine this. And so, again, in this environment, I really feel that we need assistance to make sure that our democracy is not undermined. Okay, then.
All right, and caller, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. It's 4 minutes past the hour of 1 here in the studios of WINNFM 98.9. We'll take this short break to give a shout out to our sponsors, and when we come back, we will continue Voices right here on WINNFM 98.9. Let's take this break, and we will be right back. Stick and stay.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Portsmouth's Value Mart IGA is helping you spend less and save more. How, you ask? Essential Everyday and Equiline. Spend less on our Essential Everyday products and get the best quality, the best taste, and the best value. Spend less for all your family health and beauty needs with the Equiline brand of over-the-counter products. Portsmouth's Value Mart IGA is helping you spend less. With our Essential Everyday products and Equiline over-the-counter health and beauty care products. Shop smart and spend less at Value Mart, where price matters most.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are solely those of the participant or caller and do not reflect the views of WINNFM 98.9. WINNFM reserves the right to disconnect any caller who infringes the law or offends the right of any person. The station will also refuse to take any call from any person who, in WINNFM's considered opinion, is likely to expose the station to liability for statements made on the air. Welcome back to Voices right here on WINNFM 98.9. The phone lines are open and we are taking your calls at 466-0989 or 762-0989. Let us head back to the phone lines. Okay, we seem to have lost that caller. Okay, the caller is back, so we'll take this call. Caller, good afternoon. You are on the air.
Yeah, Mr. Kalinas, me again. No, I hear this thing bandied around all the time, and they're saying that you should vote where you live. But what about the overseas voters who don't live here? Where they vote? When they come to Sengis to vote, where they vote?
Well,
they vote apparently where they're being instructed to vote.
Based on what I've been told by officials and based on what I've seen in the past, if you reside, let's say you now reside in Florida, you coming back home to vote, you must vote where you last reside. So when you left St. Kitts and Nevis, you were living in Newtown, then you're supposed to vote in Newtown. So you vote where you were last registered to vote when you left the Federation. So it's not a situation where you now reside in Florida or New York, and you have the luxury of coming back home and voting wherever you want. That's
yeah,
not
but
the
what
case.
about the people who are citizens were not born here, registered to vote? They can register to vote wherever they want to vote.
I'm not. You said people who are citizens, but they're not born here.
They're not. Let's assume that I have family members
Mm-hmm.
who are citizens. I have a brother who is a citizen
Mm-hmm.
and lives in England. He's born in England.
Mhm.
He's a citizen of the country.
Mm-hmm.
Now he decided to come to St. Kitts to vote. Apparently, he will have to register.
Mm-hmm.
Where he would register, where I live, or where somebody tell him to register. Let's say we have a constituency 3 is a weak area. You can tell him to register there.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So
you see, if you are a citizen, of course, yes. Firstly, you're eligible to vote, but it's not a case of where you just get up and come to vote. You have to be registered to vote, and you're expected to register where you live.
To vote.
No,
He
that's an interesting point that you raise. Whether the person would come home and vote where you live now, or if they can register and vote anywhere
in a constituency where they're instructed to
want
vote.
to.
I'll let you put it like that.
I do not. I don't know what to tell you on that. What I can tell you is that people are encouraged to, whenever they're registering to vote, they do so honestly, and they make sure that they give accurate information. It says here, all persons eligible to register to vote should seek at all times to be honest with the information they impart, and do not seek to vote more than once, and do not seek to vote in anyone else's name.
But you see, it's human being you're dealing with, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's human being you're dealing with. So it's easy to say that people must be honest and those kind of things, but it's human being you're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
And
But I do believe
Huh?
there is some sort of requirement, a residency requirement or something like that. I'm not too certain, but I think you first have to live, even though you're a citizen. I could be wrong. I stand to be corrected, but you first have to live in that particular area for some time in order for you to be eligible to vote in that area.
When they make the law?
I am not, as I said before, I'm not certain. I stand to be corrected, but I believe that there is something that speaks to it. But I'll check it out.
Well, that'll be good because I think is it possible for people to register overseas, right?
No.
Is it possible? No. You have to come home to register.
You have to come home to register.
Okay, so he's home. He's a citizen. He's been living in England for years. Never lived in St. Kitts. And when he come now, he want to register. I can ask him where he resides. He said, "Well, I don't really live in St. Kitts, but my mother living in Shadow, so that's constituency 3. So he just automatically registered to vote there. That don't make no sense.
All right.
You with me?
Yeah, I follow you. I see where you're coming
That is something
from.
that needs to be cleared up. Okay, thank you.
All right, caller. Thank you so much for your contribution to this program. Let's head back to the phone lines. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yes, Mr. Cornelius, I want to ask your opinion. Do you think it will be beneficial and be able to help the voters to make a better decision if Timothy Harris, Dr. Joe, and Richards will come on air and debate each other on the issues of health care, unemployment, workers' rights, and jobs for the citizens? I mean, if the candidates could come and have a debate with each other, the people will be able to actually view them and see them, in person on the stage and doing the issues that concern the people. It will help them to make a better decision if the candidates can debate each other live.
Absolutely. I absolutely think so. As a matter of fact, I know of a number of groups and organizations, Sniper for one, in St. Kitts and Nevis, that have been calling on our elected representatives to participate in a national debate. So this is something that has been
because
in the planning for a very long time, but whenever you ask them, they decline.
But that is needed now because of so much things that is going on.
Yes.
The people need that.
Yes.
But the people them need to put pressure on them to come and have a debate.
But I can tell
Candidates
you,
should debate.
sorry, not to cut you off. I wholeheartedly agree with you.
Those who run in for premiership, they should debate each other, and the ones with the constituency, they can also have the thing to show how they're going to improve the constituency, to give the public a better view of who to choose. I mean, just having the meetings out there and stuff, you ain't actually seeing them together to see their body language and see what they're bringing to the table. Because individually just having meetings, you know what I'm saying? A debate really helps you to decipher and actually see in real life, view what's going on. So they should push for that.
Yeah, I agree with you, caller.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. Yes, caller, and I can tell you that there have been efforts made by a number of groups and organizations in the country to have this happen. So it's a case of where the elected representatives, I don't know whether they are afraid to go up against their opponents. I don't know whether they feel that they can bring their message across better by being on the platform by themselves. But the call has been made time and time and time and time again. And they continue to deny, decline. They run all around the bush. They give you all kind of excuse. But they don't, for some reason, they don't want to debate. I don't know why. I really don't know why. And apart from groups and organizations, I've seen people individually call for it. I've seen people call for it, for there to be a debate between our national leaders. But they cut my style and run around the bush. I don't know why. Let's head back to the phone lines. Okay, we seem to have lost that caller. Please call us back at 466-0989 or 762-0989. It is 15 minutes past the hour of 1 here in the studio of WINN-FM 98.9. We're heading back to the phone lines. We're taking some more calls. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Devon. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. What about you?
Happy Friday, big thing, big day coming up tomorrow. Big day. Is any artist overseas coming here? Yesterday it was a lecture.
No. According to. Hello?
I wanted to know why we want to spend up $10 million on this thing, and when the hospital in a deployable state and another country there.
Right. So I'm telling you, based on the advertisement that I just heard, there are no overseas artists coming in. So it's all local acts.
Oh, they eliminated because it was up in the ear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm agreeing so much with that lady there just now. You know why? Because they take us for a fool. You see that, you hear where they're going to go jump up, and then next day you say, oh, he good man, you see big people. No, we ain't want that. Gone are them days there when you knock the drum and the people come dance. We want to hear what's going on, what you're going to do in the next 5 years for the country. And so on. Pull up the things. We don't want to give money to people. You don't give money every day when you see people. Then when somebody meet you today, you get them a 5. They meet you Sunday, you get them a 5. They meet you Wednesday, you get them a... next Friday, you say, no, man, I ain't got money, Even though you fan full of money. I mean, no one just come beg me, because I don't get it, I don't give him money like that, Because I think those are how I work. I used to have that time of the like now, so, I mean, if you know me from a child, pulling me not scared up and down, I like to the Friday, I tired, back and forth, got to go home. Sometimes take a chance, leave, and some nuts going back home, go check them while I out hustling. So I ain't into that. I go up, come up here, working for $10. I don't care the young people out abuse me. Say, you should don't shake one mouth. It's $10 because I still today. I don't care, and I was satisfied with it. I never tried to steal when a body guy got to work with my mistress them. I never tried to take out no half cup of rice, get home, no little dust of sugar. I go to the shop and I reach home and buy me 5 cent and me 10 cent thing, right? So I don't know why these people are get so much pampered and people behind the scene. Oh, you don't want this. Oh, you know the situation of them. Let them go walk W-O-R-K. And walk, you're walking. And one time I get your paycheck and you're satisfied. Because you come and tell me, you see how Jamaica got a problem, you know. You can't even ring towards somebody to pull something from you, kill you. Then him pulling on from you, they're killing you, then always pull your back, they kill you and take it and go. Right? And if we look like we head into this situation, you know, I don't care how nice they call in Mr. Timo nice, there ain't no niceness. That is said get some work, we ain't got no small gang here, no, we ain't got no key on cutting, but there's work to be done. Eh? Over there, the prison building now, get a 50 of them, also let them go over there work with the Chinese, them. Not no one such set of people supposed to be working. Eh? With your solar farm doing, get some of them go there, let them clean it out, and so on. What happened to these people, eh? What happened to them with a silver spoon in the mouth?
All right. Well, caller, thank you so much for your... thank you so much for your contribution to this program, all right?
Another thing issue I come with, you know.
Quickly, we want to take some more calls.
Huh?
Yeah, hurry up. We want to take some more calls.
Yeah, somebody in the station this morning, I know you just sugarcoat. Let me tell you, Devon, I had a little business place down there. Today, it made it like I miss out on a lot of things. And today now, I don't feel like going because the thing is, the ball is not in the right court. Things are not going to turn over the way it used to be, right? Because when this man who we take up put over the country, 7 years now, keying out license like drunken sailors, everywhere you go, you know what I mean? You is a young man, you're driving around all up in your tongue, where you go, all up in the private area, now you see bars in the yard, and that cut down the cost. So when I look at it, I was in there up to last year, so man, you look like this ain't no progress for me. I drop in, and you just gain out lesson because of your benefit. You know why? The inner revenue, you're going to get $150 for a bill license in December and $100 for you to say you got your business license. Some people are saying pay more than all, like pay 5 and all of them are more. And that is not right. You're doing something just to benefit you. What happened to with the people, and people are jumping up on me here, somebody say, oh, he's good for, he's looking for the country in which way they're blind, you just can't see. I beg them wake up and smell this coffee, and you hear them and talk about the overseas workers, they try to stop it. Or other people say, let's say, oh, there's a pet tax here, let them come. Is that thing, I see something, I go in now. I was here in 2010 election. A gentleman from Kayan used to run a taxi, he passed away now, right? And I saw him there, he had one big thing down in Grant area, half a tree. I was there, nobody tell me so I could talk. And they say, oh, people, I tell you things that I was there. Right that morning, causing confusion. The person come from where they come from overseas and went straight in number 3 award. That's how Grant never win the seat in 2010. So this thing is a thing, debate them. That's why we put in them for we want now. We ain't getting your hospital. And you inform Rickard down the leaking right now. And Lord God, you know the roofer leak. Lord, you have one bad word again from a new cancer. You have one bad word hearing coming from a new way. Listen, he gonna run for in number 8. Lord help us, water school children, Millie. Cool, he look like he come back. It's a good afternoon.
All right, caller, thank you for your contribution to this program. And it is 1:22. We have a few minutes left before we wrap up the program. But I wanted to use the little time I have left to share something with you. As some of the callers spoke about, as I raised I think it was a caller before who talked about, having the national leaders debate each other, which is something that I wholeheartedly support. And it is something that groups and organizations in the country have been calling for and continue to call for. The point was also made that these things should happen because the electorate, they want to hear from the people who are going to be representing us in the national or the Nevis Island assemblies. And so it is important for us as voters to hear from these people. What are their plans for the country? But while I believe that that these debates should happen, whenever I hear people ask, whether it be the sitting government or the opposition or candidates, politicians, or political parties, let me say that, about their plans for the country, I sometimes stop and I think about it for a while. And I look back at, or I think about the manifestos. And I ask myself the question, how many of us sit down and read or go through these manifestos? Now, the truth is, or the fact is, a lot of people don't read the manifestos because, some people don't like to read things that are too long, and that is absolutely fine. Some people prefer to see things in a more shorter, friendly format, and that is absolutely fine. But whenever I hear things like that, it brings me to the point that people don't want to read. And so I find that at times we would give these politicians a hard time not doing our research. We're asking them what are their plans for the country when there are politicians and political parties that continue to put out their manifestos with clear, concise plans on the issues that we face today, whether it be in education, healthcare, whatever. And so the manifestos are there. What we need to do is look at these manifestos and say, okay, here in this manifesto, this candidate or this party achieved this, okay, fine. Look at the manifestos and say, well, it's been X amount of years, and you have still not delivered on your promise in this manifesto. So if we really want to hold our elected representatives accountable, we need to look at their manifestos and throw them back in their face and say, well, you came 10 this years ago, that years ago, and you said you were going to bring this for us. You were going to deliver this for us. And X amount of years later, we are still waiting. There has been absolutely no progress. Not even talks of it, not even consultations, no town hall meetings, nothing. So I am encouraging our voters to look at these manifestos and see what these parties, if they've been really living up to what they say they want to do. And on the issue of voting, we look here at the Code of Conduct. It says ethical guidelines, where it is your fundamental right to vote. Not a soul can tell you that you can't vote if you are duly and legally registered to vote. A voter should therefore not abstain from voting without good reason. Just the other day I was having a conversation with someone on the issue of voting and how low our voter turnout continues to be, where you find that our locals, they are not voting. Oh, me not vote because all politicians are the same. Me not vote because I want a house, and if I ain't get a house or a piece of land, me ain't voting. So when you look at the voter turnout, while I do not have the exact data in front of me, based on the trend, our locals are not voting. Kitishans and Nivisions are not voting. People are not voting. And then we come and say, well, the politicians, they ain't studying with us. Because it is the non-nationals who are voting. They are the ones who time and time again go out in their overwhelming numbers and they vote. So how then you want to vex with the politician if you were agitating or calling for something to be done in a particular area and the elected representative ain't study with you? Because in the back of that person's mind, the person is saying, well, you didn't vote. And so you'll find that the people who are voting, they get looked after because they're voting. And when I say looked after, I don't mean any bribe or anything like that. But the issues that they raise, the concerns that they have are addressed. I keep saying, if you want to see change, if you want to see something done, you must vote. If you don't vote, you don't count. It is as simple as that. Because they're telling themselves, well, you ain't voting, so you don't have any, you're not impacting whether I win or you're not impacting whether I lose because you don't vote. And because you don't vote, and because you can't impact the decision of the of the results, whether I win or I lose, me not study with you because you don't vote. I believe this is what they just tell themselves some of the time, you know. I honestly believe that's what they tell themselves at times. So the locals are not voting, so me not study with them because they can't decide whether I win or I lose because they not vote. Whether you want to see the current government remain or you want the opposition to come in, the only way to do that is to vote. Going on Facebook every day and banging your mouth and talking about it and talking about the issues is not going to fix the issue. Making noise and cussing the politicians and calling them all manner of evil will not fix the issue. Whatever the issue you think you are facing, whatever the issue may be. The only way to effect change is to vote. The only way to effect change is to vote. There's no ifs, no but, no maybe. Talking about it for a while and saying more needs to be done in education, when really and truly a lot has been done in education. That could be the case. And there are more to be done, but because you don't read the people manifestos, you don't know. But you don't vote, so you don't count. It's just like when you have census. You don't participate in the census, but you want to be a part of the plans and programs that are rolled out. Well, how are you going to be a part of the plans and programs that roll out if you don't count? Because you didn't participate in the census. They don't know whether you exist or not. Because you have 5 people in the household and you tell them only you want to live there. So we expect. If you don't vote, you don't count. I am not going to tell you who to vote for. But it is your fundamental right to vote. Whether you want to vote for this party or that party or this candidate or that candidate, vote. Whatever change that you want to see, whatever you want to see happen in your country, get up and go vote. Staying home is not going to fix the issue. Staying home and talking about that the government ain't doing nothing for education and training and healthcare and this and that, that will not fix the issue, my people. If you want to see a minister go or a minister stay, the only way you can do that is to vote and encourage people to vote. So my simple message to each and every one of you today, if you have not voted in a very long time, I am encouraging you to consider voting in the upcoming National Assembly elections. If you are a regular voter, I encourage you to continue to vote and bring somebody else with you. Pull somebody along with you. It is your fundamental right. It wasn't easy for us to get this right to vote. Don't take it for granted. Do not take it for granted. This has been another edition of Voices right here on WINNFM 98.9. we have coming up at 3, Musical Surge with DJ Flames, and at 6 p.m., the Daily Sports and Newscast. And of course at 7, the Friday Night Lime with Daddy Source. Of course, we have tomorrow Inside the News. This is WINNFM 98.9. Stick and stay. Enjoy the rest of your Friday and have a fantastic weekend. If you work all week, go and go lie down if you're tired and rest yourself. You guys take care. Much love and respect.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Oh, am I? The girls, them sugar. On Sunday, 26 June, from 4